Once upon a time, when I was living in America, I attended a conference about restorative justice. It's a very interesting subject, restorative justice. It would be a much better way of dealing with crime in the community than we see in Britain at the present time. Anyway, when I was there was a young lady who was in charge of my little group, sort of chairing the group. And we got on really well, chatting about different things. And when we had a coffee later on, we were chatting away about the subject, and she was interested about my background because I kind of a lot of experience on both sides of the bars, as you might say. I've been in jail for many years, and I've been out of jail for many years. So I have a unique perspective. Anyway, I said to her, I've chatted for a little while. Look, I got to go, I said, because I got to get home. I got to get the kids to bed, and I got to get up early because I got my deliveries in the morning. I used to do this delivery job, delivering pharmaceutical goods to the hospitals. It used to get me nice money. And I said, my first stop is in Susquehanna, across the Pennsylvania border. There's a little town on the Susquehanna River called Susquehanna. So, and she goes, oh my God, you're not going to Susquehanna? And I said, yeah. And I said, why? She said, I used to live there. I said, oh wow, I said, what did you do? What was your job? And she said, oh, I was a pastor. And I said, oh really? She said, I was a youth pastor. She used to look after the young people. I said, oh great, I said, so where are these young people today? You're obviously doing something else. And when I asked her that, she just suddenly looked a bit sad, Well, I said, why are you looking a bit down about it? She says, well, some of them are on drugs, and another one got pregnant, and a couple of guys went to prison, and blah, blah, blah. And it seemed a bit sad, And I said, well, I don't know why you're looking so sad. I said, because did you do a good job with these young people? And she said, yeah. She said, I worked hard and I love them and blah, 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 And I said to her, well, you've sown good seeds. And I said to her, when I was in prison, if you asked anybody, in all seriousness, who were doing time, what would you really like to do when you get out of jail, with your life? They nearly always wanted to help people. Nearly always wanted to do that. And I told her this. And I said, so who do you think that those guys who go to jail are going to use as a model for their rehabilitation? Who do you think they're going to think about? They're going to think about you. Because you, without price, without any reason in the world, just out of pure love and care, you gave them your time and you sowed the seeds. I said, and the girl who has the baby. I've had children. I've had 3 girls myself. And you have dreams for your children, And I said to her, when the girl holds a baby, I said, what kind of a character will she want the child to be? Probably wants her child to be somebody like you, a good person, somebody who cared, somebody who poured their love out, somebody who gave something back to the community. It's the best thing you can do. And I talked about these things for a few minutes, and the next thing, she's got tears in her eyes, remembering that she did pour out her soul, her heart for these young people, and did a great job. And I said to her, well, the thing is, see, when you sow seeds, you're like a farmer. You work the land. You do your best. And you sow the seeds in love. But you don't see a farmer leaning on the fence, worried every day about the seed. Farmer goes away and he gets on with something else. Lets the sun take care of the seed. Lets the rain take care of the seed. Lets life take care of life. He might look over the fence a month later and say, oh, there it comes, He's not going to worry about it. But all too often, we as people, when we're raising our children, we're sowing our seeds and we want results, you know. And it doesn't quite work that way. And I managed to convey to this young lady who was shedding a few tears, and suddenly she realized, well, yeah, you know, I did sow good seeds, and that's probably the way they're going to come back. I used to do talks sometimes to religious people raising their children, and one of the things they struggled with is when they reached their teens, you know. And I used to say to them, well, you know, have you sown good seeds in their life? Have you raised them up the way they should be raised up? Have you give them love and everything else? Yeah, we've done all these things, you know. And I used to say to them, well, do you believe in the seed? Do you have faith in what you've done? And they'd say, well, yeah, I do, you know, I did the right thing. And I used to say, well, now's the time for faith. Now's the time for your faith. You know, when your son's swearing and carrying on with his friends, or your daughter's not wearing the clothes you want her to wear and she hasn't got the faith you want her to have, don't worry about it. Just let him go. Let him go. Let them do what they're going to do. But in the end, the seed will bring them home. You know, as I say, I've got 3 daughters of my own. And I raised them in love, protected them. I gave them everything I could, and I love them. But I knew from about the age of 11, 12, 13 that they were going to go their own way and do their own thing. And I protected them to some degree. But really, I believed in what I'd already done. And I also believed that the seeds I sowed were for my grandchildren. Even when I was a young man, I knew this. I knew that whatever good I was doing for my kids, I was doing for my grandchildren too. Because now I have 3 grandsons. And I watch the way my daughters raise those boys. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of how I raised them. The pictures they draw. They take them outdoors as often as they can. A lot of laughter, a lot of painting, a lot of good things, a lot of books, a lot of education. So, I'm talking to all you farmers out there today. All you people who've sown your seed. They might not be your kids, maybe you're a youth worker, maybe you work as she did, like a youth pastor, working with young people in a church or something. Maybe you're a youth worker or doing something somewhere. Even a prison officer. Some prison officers are very good men, good women. And you have to believe and have faith today that no matter how it looks in the short term, you look in a farmer's field the week after he's sown the seed, it doesn't look like anything at all. It's not going to look like anything at all for a long time. And let's face it, when we have our own children, not only before the time of fruit, we have that funny period, don't we, when there's a lot of blossom around. And blossom smells nice and looks nice. And it says, look how much promise my children have. Look how great my son's going to be. Look how marvelous my daughter's going to be. And even if you're working with young prisoners or delinquents or whatever, they show all this promise, you know. But you got to remember, it's only blossom. It's not fruit. And the wind comes, spoils the party, blows the blossom away. It's all over the floor, confetti everywhere. And you think, oh, they seem to have lost that glow that I used to have. My little Johnny, his glow's gone, man. It's got to go. The glow's got to go. And then you wait. Then you wait. And then the fruit comes. I was talking to a friend of mine recently about a guy I knew years ago. He and his wife were Pentecostal ministers, and they invited me to travel to the area where they lived to speak. And they said, oh yeah, it'd be great to see you. And the story in the background was this. They had 2 sons. The eldest son didn't want to know anything about the faith. He just said, "Not for me, Papa. I don't want to know." So he was virtually a villain. He was fighting and he was drinking and everything else. And you wouldn't think he was raised in the same house as his brother. Brother was as good as gold. Went to church with his parents and followed the faith. I'm not promoting the faith by any means, whatever here, I'm just telling you the story, how it was. So when the father was on the phone to me saying, "Will you come and do a talk?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll come." And at the end he says, "Maybe you can get through to my son," And I thought, oh, here we go, the delinquent son. Anyway, this son was in his 20s, and he was a piece of work, So I went up and did a talk up there, and he was there, but he disappeared before the end of the meeting, so that was that. And I was doing another talk on a Sunday morning, a couple of days later, and we were not long before we left the house to get to the meeting hall, and they were in the window, the mum and dad, going, is he going to come? Is he going to come to the meeting? Want him to come, Because they seemed to have some faith in me about what I could do. And so anyway, last minute, there he comes. And he's looking kind of proud, He doesn't want to show that he's coming along showing that he's got no interest, kind of 50-50 deal, He wants to keep his pride. So anyway, we went to the place, did the meeting, spoke. We had a great time, loads of people coming forward, and there was great things going on. And then as the place was emptying, I noticed he was still sat there with his girlfriend. So I went over, and all I was going to do was to say, "Hey, buddy, thanks for coming along, and it's been nice to meet you." That's all it was going to be. But as I got close, I noticed he was kind of holding his thumb on one hand with his other hand like that. And I just knew he was nervous. There's something going on, So I just paused for a second, stood in front of him as he sat there. Last few people were going out. His girlfriend sat next to him, and I said, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And he said, "I don't know what's going on. He looked aggravated. I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I know what's going on." I said, "This is time for change here, I said, "Would you like me to pray for you?" Not that I fully know what prayer is. I didn't know what else to say. And he said, "Not with her here. Get rid of her." So she had to go. And as she went out the door, there's his father at the door. And I said, "Go away, leave us alone, So he went out. And this guy bows his head, okay? And as he bows his head, put yourself in my shoes, okay? What am I supposed to do? How do I change a life? What am I, But that's what his father wanted. It's what his mother wanted. They'd sown seeds all of his life in the womb. When he was born, every week praying for him, loving him, giving him, waiting for the seed to come back. I didn't know what to say. And then there was these small windows at the back of this building, and the sun started to shine like beams of light across the room. He didn't know. I was just standing there watching. So I said, because my life changed by a huge miracle when I was 22 years old. And I said to the heavens, or the light, or the spirit, whatever we want to call it, And I said, I put my hand above his head like this, And I said, can you just shine in him like you did with me? Because when you did that for me, nothing was ever the same again. My life was changed forever. And you know what? Miracle happened. Big shudder went through his body. Could feel it, hear it, And then another one. And this guy's starting to cry. He didn't want to cry. He didn't even want to be part of what was going on. But he was gripped. And tears started to fall. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. Well, you don't do anything, do you? If somebody's going to change, they're going to change. There's nothing you can do. And then his father appeared at the door, comes through the... I'm going, no, go away. You might ruin this, But 27 years of praying for his son. 27 years of him and his wife sowing seeds. You know what? When this fruit was going to come to bear, you were not going to hold this guy back. So he came over. And I said to this guy, I said, your father's here. Is that okay? He lifted his head up, looked me in the eyes, and he was pouring with tears. And all his pride was gone. And he looked at his father. And he said, Dad, I'm so sorry. And his father said, it doesn't matter, son. And they embraced each other. And they both started to cry. But he came home to roost, eh? He came back. Good seed sown. Took a long time. Some people, they go to jail. Some people, they take a lot of drugs. They go off the rails. But you know what? You've got to believe in that seed. Seed is a powerful thing. I don't know if you realize, but deserts in the world are full of seed. And sometimes the rain comes down on the desert or parts of the desert. And the whole place comes up like magic. Not a desert for a little while. Looks more like a jungle. Fantastic. Seed is an amazing thing. It can sit there 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, the seed. And then it produces a crop like beautiful as can be, flowers and fruit, everything. It's all in the earth, just waiting to come up. But it's also in people, the seed of love, the seed of nurture. It's a wonderful thing. And I've seen this happen in many people's lives, okay? So, in a way, I'm talking to you people who are parents. Maybe your kids are kind of off the rails, or maybe somebody else in your life who you spend some time with. You know, I changed when I was 22. But you know, after I'd changed, big time changed, I remembered every person who put something into my life. I'd ignored them. I'd told them where to go. I'd been unkind to them. I broke their hearts. But you know, I couldn't get away from the seed. The seed got me in the end, man. And the seed got that boy in that building, brought him home. Seed time and harvest. It's one of the most amazing things of all. Hallelujah.